Welcome to Comical Recovery with your host, with the most trauma, comedian Jessica Byrne. So, as you could see from the beginning of this episode, we are doing things a little bit differently tonight and very raw. I figured we would start the new year off with a super light topic like self-harm. Yes, I know. You should hopefully catch the sarcasm in my voice, and it's not because self-harm isn't a serious issue, because it is. But it's also a relevant issue, current to this day in my life. And what wound better to discuss than the one that is fresh, right? So, I was contemplating many things about this topic. I am a person who has practiced this form of treatment to self, and I was thinking about how the many different ways it comes about, right? So when I was a teenager, I was a cutter. I wanted to harm myself to disengage and disassociate from my emotional feelings that were going on in the moment. And there's a flow of epiphanies going on right now, so bear with me if we skip around a bit. But today, I realize that it's because I don't want to look at something, some kind of circumstance, some kind of thing, and I feel helpless against it. And oftentimes, it's with another person. When there are threats to my ego. So I recently learned that the ego is threatened in 3 ways. I'm going to have to look them up because you know how I don't like to give you guys misinformation. But I know one of them is likability. Let's see, where is my happy little bag, guys? You're like basically in my space right now, which seems like a temporary space, but let's save that conversation for a later date when I figure out whether I have to be dramatic or if I'm just being dramatic. For those of you that know me, if you don't understand, get to know me a little bit better and you will. Okay, so when it's against significance, competence, and likability. And my ego's been attacked a few times recently. Yesterday it was about competence and very slightly about significance. And today it's completely about significance. And I suppose probably likability. And, you know, I'm going to just throw it all out there and say how I feel and not give a shit how this all unfolds because I'm pretty upset and I'd rather have my honesty and integrity in the situation. So, you know, we feel these things from different circumstances. And then, at least for me, I want to escape them. And I was thinking about the different forms of self-harm. I'm sorry, I'm a bit emotional, so I'm all over the place. But the different forms are more than just physical harm to yourself. It can be emotional harm. It can be picking the wrong people. For me, it was substance abuse for a very long time. So there's a plethora of ways that we can create self-harm. It can even go as simple as eating the wrong foods, which I do also. You know, but I think I do all 3 of them. I hurt my body. I hurt my emotions. You know, I mean, I'm a glutton for punishment. What can I say? But today I'm pausing and getting lost so much because I'm having all these crazy realizations about the circumstances that one might put themselves in. So, feeling helpless in a relationship. Wondering if you're continuing to pick toxic people that give you ultimatums and keep you on edge and keep you in this cyclic thing, which is the state of being I'm in right now. And I think that at least maybe as a female, but maybe as anyone who's in an abusive situation, there's a immediate response to hide the circumstances that you're going through because of fear. But I didn't want to do that today because nobody's talking about this that I'm aware of. I'm sure somebody is out there, but I don't have a routine. I don't have my feet firmly planted in the ground to have a routine, because every time I begin that journey, I find a man to distract me, and I jump in with both feet, and I ignore all the red flags, and then I sit and wonder and think to myself whether this was such a good idea after all. And then sometimes I even think, what's the point of changing to just find another person the exact same way? Isn't that an insane way of thinking? That is just so crazy to think that way, because then at least for me, I feel I am projecting that into the future and I'm manifesting it. And I just today feel so exhausted from putting all of myself into someone who's giving me how many of us get ourselves into that pretty little predicament? So self-harm manifests itself in many different ways. Like I said, it could be in a bad relationship. It could be in beating yourself up mentally or physically. Drug abuse and use. Or relationships that make you wonder, is this person giving me an ultimatum and threatening their sobriety against me to manipulate me? Are they going to actually leave after the fact, or are they just saying that to trauma bond me into a deeper place of abuse? And then I have to think to myself, I've been doing this research for going on 7 years now. I've been in therapy for about the same time, and I think it's about time that I start trusting that not only is this instinct, but I recognize the pattern. And for the first time in my life, I am highly considering listening to other people that have told me about this person's charming personality and character traits. Today I was in a meeting and it said character defects are what she likes to call character opportunities. And I thought that is a beautiful, wonderful way of thinking about this. I like it. So instead of deadening the conversation with that, I'm just going to tell you the circumstances that I've been going through, because why not? I already said the F-bomb on here. Hopefully I've edited it out before you guys hear it, just because YouTube will be mad at me. There's some babbly stuff in there because I got disassociated when I thought about what I was going to tell you, so I decided to retract that statement. And here we are in present time. So my present time situation is crap. It's absolute crap. And I chose that, And then when I chose to have boundaries about it, that's when this situation came about. And now I'm contemplating the patterns of which I have been subjecting myself to, which is a really good observational place and place of power to be in, just in general. This is why I preach about awareness so much, because awareness is key to freedom. It's the key to freedom from whatever. It's the key to freedom. So, the story goes like this, kiddos. my roommate, we'll say, has relapsed twice. Not for too long, but fair amounts of stretches. 3 weeks here, 1.5 or something, 1 week, I don't know, there, whatever. All in a 2-month span. And I was doing a lot for this person, taking them places. Not that I minded, it didn't matter to me. However, today it seems like it didn't matter them either. We have a fair little trade going on. Helping each other out, but it doesn't really count if someone helps you out and, okay, gives you no rent, we'll say, because it's the truth. So that they can support your dreams and goals. But then turn around and distract you from that by calling you in the middle of the night while they're relapsed and keeping you up and being verbally abusive and you're worrying sick, etc. So my whole mental space is taken up by this other person. And because we read the book Boundaries together, and I didn't even finish it with you because of all of that, I missed a couple podcasts. I didn't even want to talk about it. I just wanted to brush it off and act as if it didn't even happen. But now we're talking about it because it needs to be talked about. Okay? When an individual, no matter who it is, whether it's your mom, a boyfriend, a friend, when an individual is interrupting your quality of life, it's time for boundaries to step in. And if they're toxic, they're probably going to make you feel guilty about that. And they will stab at your ego because they felt that their ego was stabbed at. And that's what's happening. It's a tick for tack. Because it's not healthy. But the reality is, it's my responsibility to decide to leave and not let it be up to this other person because they want to throw a fit and be in control. Because that's what's not healthy about it. You don't tell somebody what they want to hear, like, you have every right to feel that way. I don't blame you. In fact, I understand. And then turn around and manipulate the situation by saying, I'm going to need 24 hours to see if this is worth investing in. And, oh yeah, I might get drunk. I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. Are you going to say or do what you're going to, blah, blah, blah. You get what I'm saying, guys. That's manipulative. That's manipulative. But my part is that I keep both feet in this manipulative cycle. Okay, maybe one foot's out. But when am I going to take the other foot out? How long am I going to jump rope in and out of this manipulative situation? Heavy questions, man. Heavy questions. Not easy ones to answer. Not simple decisions, not simple consequences. And just other things that were said were the same manipulative behavior. think what's hard about letting go of that stuff is accepting the reality of it, accepting that we're seeing that stuff and we're choosing not to step out of it. Do I want to be hopeful, or do I just not want responsibility for leaving a situation that isn't serving either of us? I mean, maybe it's serving him, but apparently not, if it's not worth the investment. And if any men listen to this, maybe they'll put their 2 cents in and say that I'm being too sensitive. But I'm not listening to you. I'm not going to do it. I don't know who you are. So unless you have a solid background and are trustworthy, I don't trust your opinion. That's where I'm at these days. And I think that's perfectly fine, because I am learning at this not so young age of almost 37 that trust has to be earned. Weird, right? Healthy people probably learned that a long time ago, but not me. Oh no, I'm not even sure I want to accept it now. Let me contemplate and waste some more of my own time. And of course, it's this inner dialogue of like, do we post this? Do we not post this? Do we just keep it to ourselves forever? We don't want to make this other person mad. Too late. Already did. Set a boundary. You already made the person mad. You know, whatever. Whatever. And I say that because I have to ask myself, would I do that to someone else? So the answer is no. I have not and will not and would not do that to someone. Although when I am playing on a field with someone that does that to me, my character defects step in and make me want to be like them. I want to punish also. Like I said, will I post this? Will I not post this? Who knows? I don't. Because if I don't, it'll be because I'm fearful. And if I do, it'll be because that person needs to man up anyways. And honestly, it's going to happen eventually anyways. Because all of this is manipulative, I'm pretty sure. But the other thing about that is if you're not sure in a situation like this, then you should call a couple friends, because that's what my plan is to call a few friends and get their thoughts and opinions. People I really, really trust. That's all you can do. That's all I can do anyways, is the best that I can in this moment. I know this. I don't want to be in a situation where there's not equal respect and admiration. I want the same treatment I'm willing to give, and I wouldn't threaten someone with nonsense. The other thing about self-harm is, whoa, where'd that come from, Jessica? Well, because sometimes I feel like when you want to self-harm, it's better just to say it out loud. I don't know if people would agree or disagree with me, but I can promise you this. When it's trapped in your head and it's not said out loud, it's much more dangerous. So whether those things are threats or just releases. And also the funny thought that I wasn't going to say earlier was that if you're in a relationship where it seems like it might be a good idea to take a leap off of something, and I'm not talking about a leap of faith, okay, then it's probably not a healthy relationship, just a thought to ponder. And that one is for me. Because that's the level of frustration and inward self-hate that I have for doing this to myself. That is the level. So that should say volumes. Shouldn't even be a question on what the next move is. That should say volumes. It's just frustrating to want something that you had before, even if it's not real. And you're just like, you go through this period of not wanting it to be real. You know, it must be me. It must be a mistake. Because that illusion was so pretty, man. It was the best trip ever. Or that healthy version of them is the greatest thing ever. But when you're in it, in the toxic quicksand, it is impossible to decipher. So don't beat yourself up, guys, if you're in that situation. Because every adventurous life gets there once in a while. If you're not in a toxic relationship, your life is probably boring. That was sarcasm. Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't purposefully go toxic, okay? Don't. It's my very serious suggestion. So that was our fun topic of the day, guys. I appreciate you joining me in this ever so pleasant conversation. We're going to go a bit raw this year. I can already feel it, so buckle in. Let's do it. Let's dig deep. Let's dive in and just rearrange the insane backwards wiring that we have going on from our past conditioning. Okay? Sound good to you? Sounds good to me. Love ya. See you next time. This is your friend and host, comedian Jessica Byrne.